can see how that is just shaking under there. Having to stare at that every day for the past 4 years has literally sent me. It's fucking annoying. Hi, Artemis. Are you ready to talk to people about our next renovation project? I think that's a yes. Welcome to our next project, and it is our bedroom at last. We have lived here for almost 4 years now, and this is one of the last remaining rooms that we have not renovated yet, as I'm sure you can tell. Now, I want to do things a little bit differently this time. If you've already followed me for a while, you'll see that I do loads of TikToks, loads of reels, loads of pickies, all the good stuff. But this time, I want to take you into the finer details. So I'm going to do a bit more vlogging, a bit more chatting, just sharing all the details of the whole process, because there is a lot going on. Now, as you can see, we are quite blessed with size in this bedroom. It's a really spacious room. The Victorians knew how to build houses. They knew how to give well-proportioned rooms, and they gave us just that in this bedroom, for which I'm eternally grateful. And they gave us lots of lovely features like a fireplace, which kind of get in the way, if I'm honest, but in a room this size, you can kind of afford to have those fancy little pretty things that make the room feel a bit more grand. We were also blessed with some original coving, which I'm sure you can see up there, around the chimney breast and the whole room. One thing I cannot wait to get rid of, the one thing I'm sure you can tell I cannot wait to get rid of, is the fucking ceiling fan. That is a monstrosity, okay? In the UK, ceiling fans are useless. It's always cold. Maybe for like a few days in the summer, that's nice, but like no one has those anymore. It's not the 80s. We're getting rid of her as soon as I can. Having to stare at that every day for the past 4 years has literally sent me. So she's going. Of course, I'll be putting up a spectacular, over-the-top, ridiculous ceiling light up there. We have lived in this house for 4 years, renovating it, pretty much all DIY. It has been like a living skip. We've lived pretty much on a building site for 4 years. Half the house is kind of done, half the house is unfinished. We had no roof on the house at one point. If you missed that journey, is that what we're going to call it? A journey? Probably just one of the most horrible times in my life. There's loads of videos about that, so please go back and watch it. We literally had no roof and pigeons took up home at the top of our house. That was great. So after living through all of that, I want to treat us to like a really luxurious bedroom, like something a bit fancy, something a bit schmancy. I think we deserve it after all the hard graft we put in. But before I get into all the plans and like what's going to go where, what colours, what schemes we're going for, I want to show you some of the amazing hidden Victorian features in this room that are kind of still intact. Some of them not so well, but a lot of them are there and they're actually fascinating. So let's have a look. So I'm standing on the side of the room that has the door on it. So as you come in, this is what the room is set up like. Big bed here, which fits nicely on that wall. And then here's where the Victorian features come in. We've got an original, Victorian fireplace surround. The original fireplace has been gutted like so many people did in like the mid-century. So a lot of like 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s fireplaces replaced the beautiful, stunning cast iron fireplace that would have been there, which is so sad to me. But hey, everything goes out of fashion, you know. I get it. I probably would have ripped it out in the 50s as well. And then we have this built-in cupboard, which I actually am going to get rid of because it's not in great nick. It's covered in gloss, as you can see. You can see it's just cracked to shit there. It's not been well looked after, and it's quite impractical. Like inside, I won't even open it to show you, but it's just the skinniest little cupboard that you can fit about 3 things in. But one feature I am going to keep is this finger plate. I'm pretty sure this is an original because I'm pretty sure the whole cupboard is an original. It looks very of the Victorian era. And these finger plates were put in for like such an extra reason. It was to stop people's like grubby hands touching the wood of your door, the nice pine or whatever it would have been. So that's a lovely little bit of flair, which I want to strip off. As you can see, it's been glossed to high hell. Oh, boomers did us dirty with the decor, didn't they? But I'm looking forward to stripping that off. And actually, on the other side of the room, there's also another one on the main door, which is exactly the same. So I'm pretty sure they're both original. And there's like an original lock here, which has been, my God, just completely abused with paint and this plastic handle. Honestly, I can't even. Disgusting. But yeah, I'm looking forward to stripping those off and trying to make it look nice again. Might keep the original door, but I can't tell you how wonky it is. Wait, let me open the door. you can't really tell, but the top of this is wonky, so the door doesn't close. That gives you an idea of how wonky the frame is. My God, look at that. She's on the piss, so she needs some help. So back to the original features, along with the fireplace, the cupboard, the coving, is actually the wallpaper. So the wallpaper, I think, is original. We stripped off wallpaper downstairs, and underneath all the layers, it looked like it was from like the 70s, the 50s, maybe even a bit earlier, was wallpaper exactly like this, and there was nothing else underneath that. So that makes me think it's either the original wallpaper that was in the house to start with, or very, very old. So probably early 1900s, maybe even 1890s when the house was built. Who knows? But anyway, I don't think I'm going to keep this. It's just not my vibe, as I'm sure you can tell. I don't really do florals, not really for me. It's a bit too pretty. So maybe in someone else's house, not ours. Huh? What do you think? So I'm probably going to get rid of that. Strip it all off. That's going to be fun. It's really textured. It's really thick. I think it's been painted over with this pink colour. I don't think that's the original colour. So we'll find out what's underneath this at some point. So that's going to go. And one more original feature, which is actually fascinating, is, I can't even show you this little boy here. So this just looks like a stubby little coat hook or something in the wall here, but we think it's actually a gas pipe that would have been for a little gas lamp that would have been on the wall here. Obviously, when this house was built in the 1890s, electricity at home was not a thing. It was only like the 30s when people started to get wired-in electricity in their homes. So this little gas lamp would have been here to light up this room for many, many, many years before electricity even thought about coming in. So yeah, that is a fascinating little feature in the wall there. We have actually like just hung pictures on it and stuff in the past before we had these drawers here. It's kind of practical, but we're going to have to look at that and see if we need to get it capped off or anything. I'm pretty sure it's probably not still connected. There has not been a gas lamp there for a long time, but obviously we need to be careful, so we're going to have to investigate that when we do the room. Something though that is an original feature, but not a good one, is lath and plaster. Our house is built on lath and plaster. I've got videos about what lath and plaster is. It's like an old-fashioned way in which walls were built prior to like the plasterboard and that we know nowadays. And this whole wall here, which has been graced with this very tasteful feather wallpaper, this whole wall is built from lath and plaster, which means she's crumbly. You can't even really see it, I don't think, but it's just a mess. I'm going to try and show you how bumpy it is from the side, because it is not smooth. And I know as soon as that paper comes off, starts to come off, that wall is coming down with it. So this is just like a bit of the wall. And you can see how that is just shaking under there. That is not going to survive me peeling off this wallpaper. I think even now, if I just do that, you can see how soft the wall is and how easily it crumbles. So yeah, this is going to be fun. So this whole wall is probably going to have to come down. And we did do this downstairs with a lath and plaster wall and managed to save the coving. So we're hoping for the same in here. But obviously these walls are all solid brick, so they do not need knocking down. Thank the Lord. And actually outside of the room, so that is our spare room, which we're doing at the same time. You can see how these are other wires from other renovations that we haven't yet completed. But this is the side of that same wall. Oh my God. But this is the side of that same wall. You can just see how unstable it is and how crumbly the plaster is. So yeah, it's got to go. So the wall on this side in our spare room, which we're also going to be renovating at the same time, and this room in here, this wall, she's going to be coming down. So with that in mind, let's talk about plans for this room. Now, as you can see, we've been living with a very basic setup for the past 4 years. We've got the same bed that we had in our old house, no headboard. We're just leaning up against that hideous wallpaper every day, which isn't good. We've got no storage in here. So as you can see, my wardrobe, or both our wardrobes, has just been a cheap rack I bought from Habitat when we moved in, thinking it would be a temporary solution because we get wardrobes as soon as we moved in. We never did. We just live like this. That's our shoe rack. The shoes, they just live on the floor. Just there's nowhere else to put them. There's no other storage in here apart from this little cupboard, which I'm going to dare to open now, actually. The handle fell off. And this is just where like I shove my handbags in, and they're all hanging on hangers, and they're all on this little shelf. It's just no good, that cupboard. So that's going to go. So we're going to have a sort of better shoe storage cupboard here that's probably going to come out a little bit from the wall. I don't want it to come out too far because the bed is going to sort of remain in the position that it is. And as you can see, there's not massive amounts of space there between me getting out of bed and the cupboard starting. So we're going to keep the cupboard quite slim, but just make a good cupboard full of shelves that shoes and bags and stuff can go on. Here is going to be my wardrobe. Don't know what we're going to have yet. I'm thinking some sort of like IKEA Pax hack or something, because it needs to be quite a tall wardrobe. We've got lovely tall ceilings. We're very blessed with those. So we want to make the most of that to get maximum storage top to bottom, so I don't have to have anything in any drawers or anything else throughout the room. We currently have these vintage drawers, which we got like in our last house ages ago. They were like a gift from a charity shop for 50 quid from my in-laws, which was lovely. But we're still using them just as like our pants and socks and knickers drawer and tush and shush drawers. But I don't want this here. I want the foot of the bed to be like a big open space. So I'm going to try and get big wardrobes here and on this side, so all the stuff that lives in there can be packed away. So this is just like dancing activities space, do whatever you want space, because I want to do something that's quite cunty and quite like rich woman, which is have like a velvet ottoman at the bottom of the bed that I can just like sit on and like just put my shoes on of a morning, put my socks on, and just feel like I'm in my luxury lane, you know. So to have that at the end of the bed, want to get rid of the drawers. So all the stuff that's in there will go in the wardrobes. So lots of storage is needed. Same on the other side. This is my partner's stuff. He needs the same in terms of wardrobe space, storage, shoes, everything. So no more habitat racks, actual solid built-in or fake built-in wardrobes. I do love like an IKEA Pax hack. I've been looking at a lot of those. I feel really out of my depth with them, but I'm, you know, needs must. She's on a budget. And then next to that, we're probably going to have some sort of sideboard, because I love having this one here. This is one we had in our old house that I got from like someone who passed away. Her family were having a clear out, and this is like a genuine 60s, 70s, mid-century cabinet, and it was about 100 quid at the time, which was a bargain because these are so expensive now. So I'm probably going to have a small sideboard here, probably not in the mid-century style because it doesn't really work with the Victorian vibe of the room, but something similar, which is useful for putting stuff on top of, as well as like pretty plants and whatnot. So yeah, just as much storage as possible we can get in here. But then I do want a wall mirror. We have a wall mirror here, which I love. It's super handy to be able to like look at yourself and what you're wearing every day. So I don't know where that's going to go. Not quite sure. One massive dilemma that me and my partner have been arguing about is the door and which way it should open. So help me with this. I personally think the door opening this way into the room is a nightmare because it hits the bedside table. It cuts off this space for like getting into bed and stuff. It just basically makes this space behind the door a dead space that you can't do anything with. And it's just for the door to like hit when it opens. It's fucking annoying, right? Because then it means that the bed has to be further over that way to compensate for the door, which means I'm closer to that cupboard, which means I have less space. So I think the best solution would be to have the door open the other way. I can't really demonstrate it. Like that. So the door hits this wall where the mirror is. But my partner, and rightly so, he sleeps on this side of the bed and said he doesn't want to just be like staring out the door. Imagine it opened the opposite way to that. He doesn't want me staring out of the door every night in bed. We keep it ajar for the cats because this is their bedroom too, isn't it? Yeah. So we're currently having that door dilemma. Wish us luck. Don't know what we're going to do with that. And then of course the bed, the big king size bed, is going to stay where it is. That is the best and only wall it can go against in this room. It's perfectly placed. We have lots of space at the foot of the bed, not so much either side, but we can live with that. We can have lovely bedside tables. What we also want is what we lack in this house is wall lights either side of the bed with switches for said lights either side of the bed. So we don't have to get out of bed to turn lights on and off. Same for the main light, switches side of the bed so we can turn that on and off while we're in bed. that would be stunning. And I've been looking at very nice fancy beds with big sexy headboards, because that's what I want after living 4 years with this bloody setup. Just whacking your head against a crumbling lath and plaster wall every morning. No, thank you. And one other thing we definitely want to do is sort out the window situation. So we do need new windows. We're hoping to get those in the next few months. And then these curtains. So these are the ones the old girl who lived here before had. And I can see why. They're really good at blackout. And that's literally the only pro I can say for them. Like, the curtain track itself is a fucking mess. They're so bulky. They're just like so big, so they take up loads of space on both the window and on the wall, so they make it feel really dark in here when actually the windows are really quite big, and this is a really lovely light room. So what we're going to do on both of them, hopefully, is get white plantation shutters for that like fancy look, because I love a shutter, and then either side just have some like pretty floor length hanging curtains that are absolutely never going to be used. They're just for decoration. They're just to look and feel fancy, and they'll frame the windows beautifully too, and just add a little zhuzh, so it's not just plain shutters there, but the shutters are what we'll close and open when we want to let light in and out. Now, as for the color scheme, the vibe we're going for, I'm going to do a whole nother video on that, because I'm still waiting for some samples and bits to arrive that I want to show you in the video, so I'm not going to give away too much just yet. But just know this back wall, I think obviously once it's rebuilt, it's going to be wallpapered. I want something sort of like statement and ridiculously ornate and over the top behind the bed to make it look really, really fancy. And then the rest of the room, probably going to colour drench. At the moment, we're looking at like olive green. We haven't used that colour in the house anywhere else, and we bloody love it, both of us. So as this room is a nice light room, we were thinking we can go for like, not a dark colour, but a darker leaning colour to make it feel really luxurious and rich and opulent. So look out for my follow-up video about all the design and the little bits and bobs we're going to put in this room, what it's going to look like at the end. I'm going to be showing you mood boards, colours, wallpaper samples, the lot. And one thing I forgot to mention actually was the fireplace. We are going to probably rip this out. The surround is original, but obviously the original insert that would have been there has been ripped out. So we are probably going to take the whole surround out, because it's made of stone, and not like pretty stone. It's like ugly concrete. Yeah, you can hear that. It's solid as fuck. And I really want to put something pretty back in there, like a cast iron fireplace that's very in keeping with the time and the era of what would have been there before. So to do that, probably going to have to take all of this out to put that in. I'm trying on Facebook Marketplace and eBay to find like an original cast iron fireplace from a Victorian house to put in there. They are so expensive. So I'm hoping to get one on the cheap, on the sly, from someone chucking one out or renovating their house and they don't want it. So if I can get one, I'm going to put that in with a beautiful surround and probably paint it all the same colour as the wall. I love colour drenching. I'm obsessed with it. So it'll make the fireplace really pop, but not make the surround stand out too much. I would also love to know, if this was your room, what you would do with it. Do you think we've got the layout right? Do you think the bed is in the right place? Do you think the wardrobes are in the right place? Let me know. I'm really, really open to discussion about this, because it's complete guesswork. I'm going in completely blind and just doing what I think could work, but any suggestions are always welcome. And please follow along for the whole ride of this massive renovation, which is not only this room, but next door and the hallway that joins both rooms too. So I'm basically doing 3 rooms at once. So please join me on this renovation journey. You can find me here on YouTube, obviously, and you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as well, at Sharn's House. I'm going to be showing you the full process of all of these rooms being renovated from start to finish. I hope you enjoy it. Look at it. It looks like a sad sack of shit, honestly. It's not giving. I mean, look at this. How does this happen? What was it with like boomers and white gloss? It should be illegal. Artemis, it's time for part 2 of our bedroom renovation plans. You ready to show everyone? Okay, let's go. So by now you've probably seen that we are renovating this big bedroom, but there's a second part just out the door, through another door, and we are in the spare bedroom that we're also going to be renovating at the same time. And oh my god, it's a fucking mess. I think this wallpaper probably tells you everything you need to know. So we live in an 1890s Victorian house. We've been blessed with some original features Some benefits like high ceilings, but what we have not been blessed with is good decor because, my God, this room is a state. And I think this is going to be even more of a project to get looking stunnerama than next door. Honestly, the wallpaper, the carpet, the ceiling. I can't with this. I don't know if you can see that, but this like papered ceiling is just a monstrosity. So we have got our work cut out for us. So let me talk you through what's going on in here and what the plans are, because they are big plans and not quite what you might expect from a spare bedroom. So as you can see at the moment, it is laid out very much like a forgotten bedroom. Bed over here. I've also got a little like working area over here. Like today I've been working and editing from my desk in the corner, which is meant to be like my makeup, getting ready, dressing table desk, but you know, God had other plans for me. So all my makeup and stuff is just stored on this little yellow table in an absolute pile. Yeah, so I need to find something to do with that. Not quite sure yet. Not that I wear makeup that often. When I do, I like to do full glam, so I like to have a lot of makeup, so I need somewhere to store all that. And this wall behind me is just a bit of like a blank nothingness. It's the way you walk into the room, and as you can see, we've got loads of stuff from where we moved in. So about 4 years ago now, we moved into this house. We haven't really, obviously, as you can see, touched this room apart from changing the ceiling light because the last one was dire. So this is all stuff piled up that we've just never got around to actually using. So that was the headboard we had custom made for the bed in our old house, king size headboard, which is lovely, but it is very 2017, like the geometric. I'm probably not going to keep it, probably not going to use it, so I should probably just get it sold, but I haven't got around to that, haven't been bothered to do that. And just loads of photo frames. Over here is loads of photo frames, crap, tripod wood, the fireplace, which I'm going to talk about in more detail in a minute. And my partner plays hockey, so this is kind of his dumping ground for hockey kit in a bag. That's something else we need to sort out in terms of the storage situation in this room. So let's talk about some of the half decent things going on in here. So for a spare room, it's a really good size. I'll pop the measurements up on screen, but it's a really good size, and we're quite blessed with 3 really good sized bedrooms in this house. So we've obviously got our master bedroom next door, which you may have seen in my previous vlog. If not, go and have a look. We've got the loft room upstairs, which is obviously an amazing big master suite. So this, considering it's like the smallest room, is quite spacey. She's spacious. The Victorians, they were not like your new build builders. They knew how to build you a house you could actually live in with lots of space. We're quite spoilt here, quite blessed. We're also kind of blessed with the, should we say, remains of what was an original fireplace here. So yeah, we have this built-in fireplace, which is, I don't know if it's a blessing. Obviously the surround is original, and it's much like next door where it's not wooden and it's not well kept. It's made of stone, like all the fireplace surrounds in this house have been. It's not in very good nick, as you can see. It's just got lots of like little scuffs and dents and nicks in it. So it would need a lot of repair work. I'll show you in detail down here where it's even worse. You can see all of that. And I should get a screwdriver and show you what's behind this actually, because it ain't nothing. So we're not being blessed with like a nice original steel insert. And this hearth, please ignore the carpet. I'll talk about that in a minute. This hearth is not giving me original. It's giving me like 20s, 30s. It's not Victorian style. Victorian style would have been way more ornate and pretty and floral, or like those black and white classic styles you see, or even like brown, blue, whites that you will see in those sort of mosaic arrangements. This is not it. So I think this is a later edition in like the 20s. So overall, it's like a nice feature, and we will probably put a fireplace back in here, but I don't think much of this will be kept. This hearth, you know, just takes up so much walking space in the room. So it's not ideal. Now the carpet, yeah, the carpet. This carpet, obviously, we have not touched this since we moved in. It is just disgusting. I think once upon a time it was probably pink, you know, and I have no problem with a pink carpet. I actually love a pink carpet. Maybe I'll put a pink carpet in here, but the state of it is just something else. I want to get this up, one, because look how dirty and disgusting it looks. I mean, look at this. How does this happen? It's so vile. And yeah, she needs to go. I reckon this was put in, I don't know, maybe like 60s, 70s. So this could be like, God, Sharn, quick math. This could be like a 60, 50, 60-year-old carpet. It is so hideous. I mean, yeah. The taste in this house was questionable. So yeah, that is obviously going to go as part of this whole renovation. And then let's talk about the wallpaper, because this is something special. Now this wallpaper, my Lord, it's a choice. It is a choice. And I totally get why someone would have put this wallpaper in the sort of 80s, 90s. So where sort of those soft pinks, those peaches, those brown taupey colours were really cool and the new thing. It wasn't about like the 70s where it was like big, bold, bright patterns. It was more about the texture and still having those florals in a very classic way, but not going hard on colour. I feel like that's when, like, even though the 80s was really vibrant, I feel like a lot of domestic, normal people life, residential decor went quite, it still had like ornate florals in it, but the colours kind of started to disappear. I want to bring them back because, you know, I love a bit of colour, maybe even a bit of leather print wallpaper. I wouldn't say no to that. But this wallpaper, let's get close up to it. It's very textured. It's, yeah, it's not me. It's just not my vibe. And obviously, it's just not in great condition either. It's like peeling off. Let's have a go at that, actually. Oh, here we go. I feel like, well, this wall is coming down anyway, so it doesn't really matter on this wall. But yeah, this paper. Yeah, this wall's coming down anyway, so I'm not worried about stripping that. But hopefully stripping this wall. Oh no, that wall's coming down as well. They're both obviously internal plasterboard walls. So actually the only ones I've got to strip wallpaper off are here and all around here. So that's kind of a blessing, I guess. Not too much wallpaper stripping. Yeah, hopefully this all just peels off. Now we also have this fireplace that was the original one in the loft room. She's not in a good way. She's not in a good way. This is what we took out of the loft room so we could have the beautiful exposed brick fireplace. But this is the original fireplace from Victorian era, 1890s. That was up there. So I'm really, really pleased we still have it. Although there's lots of breakages. So lots of bits are probably going to have to be replaced. We have got this lovely like grate at the front, which is cool. I have restored a fireplace like this before, the one in our bathroom. I've got a whole video on that, which you can go and watch. But I restored it, and they do look amazing when they're restored, and they're not too hard. Despite how awful this looks, they're not too hard to get back into good shape. So I'm really, really hoping, providing I can get the dampener bit, which is where that hole is, the like flappy, the metal flap that goes in there, you can sort of replace or buy spares. So if I can do that, I would love to try and put that into here. So pop that into the wall, new surround, take the stone surround out, something that looks very Victorian, looks very authentic, and that's going to look so much nicer in this space and this room than just a white block. Hair on my face. Now, back to the purpose of this room, and as I said, it's been used, as you can see, as like a bit of a dumping ground just for tush and shush bits and bobs. And that is going to change because we don't really want this room to be a bedroom. We want it to have a sort of sofa bed or, you know, people staying over capabilities. But let's be honest, no one ever comes to stay over. That is my golden rule of being like a homeowner or even renting a home. Don't buy a house or rent a house with spare room because like you feel like, oh, someone can come and stay. That'd be so lovely if someone come and stay. Lived in this house for 4 years. I've probably had people stay about 3 or 4 times, maybe once a year maximum. And we've got 3 bedrooms in this house, the loft room, our room, and this room. And no one ever comes to stay. So don't worry too much about having a permanent setup for those guests who are going to come stay, because they never do. Anyway, so with that in mind, and the fact that we've already got our bedroom and we've got the loft room upstairs, this room we want to be like a bit of a multi-purpose, multi-use room, rather than having a bulky bed in the corner that takes up all the space in this room and offers nothing more. So part of the grand plan is kind of to have a sofa bed here. I love those like OMHU ones that are like big foam blocks that can be a sofa, but then fold out into like a bed or a lounge area and have like lots of modular cushions and stuff. Something that's quite versatile and fun and just cute to look at, nice to look at, but not like a bed that needs a duvet all the time, because look at it, it looks like a sad sack of shit, honestly. It's not giving. And then the exciting part, in that corner there, is where I would love on the wall or like freestanding to have like a massive sort of cat obstacle course, cat tree sort of thing. As many of you will know, the cats are a key part of the family in this house, okay? They count, this is their room, they deserve the space. And actually, they're normally in here. I'm surprised they're not lounging on the bed, probably because I'm in here yapping away. But in that corner, in this corner over here, we're hoping to have like a big sort of built-in wall climbing cat playground. Should be so fun and give this room way more of a purpose and way more of a zone for the cats rather than just them sleeping on a sad human bed. And then over here in this corner is where I would love to have another desk. I really like working up here. It's a really lovely room looking out the window. Also, that window has got to go, obviously. So I'd love another little like desk area over here, like a little sort of edit suite that's always set up rather than something that feels like an afterthought that's shoved in the corner. Me and my partner like work from home. Sometimes I work from home way more than he does, but sometimes those days clash. So I have to come upstairs and I feel like I'm relegated to the shitty desk at the moment. So I'd love this to be like a nice place I could walk into and work every day that feels nice, that feels creative, that feels fun, and isn't just like the corner little spot in a bedroom, in a dusty old bedroom. So I'm hoping to make this like a really nice little working creative space that's like got a standing desk so I don't have to sit down all day because my arse hurts when I sit down all day because I'm old. A little standing desk in there where I can stand up and look out the window, see what's going on in the world would be absolutely lush. So that's basically going to be the layout of the room. Going to have a modular sort of sofa bed, a cat tree, cat playground area all up on that wall, using the whole expanse of it where they can climb and scratch and play. And then over here, little edit suite, creative desk area where I can stare out into the world and make shit like this, which hopefully people will watch, we'll see. And then over here, so we've got this dead bit of wall. And as you can see, we've got lots of shite along it. So key for this area is not to necessarily put loads of stuff on that wall. I think I might put some art or something, but it is the passageway into the room. Obviously, there's the door in. So I don't want to put anything in that wall, really. It would kind of be unnecessary. But we do need to sort out storage. So far in this room, all we have for storage is this cupboard, which I will show you, which is not the prettiest. So as you can see, it's to store like birthday present bags, DVDs. Oh my God, let's see what DVDs got in here. Now, if you're my age, you probably remember DVDs. If you're older, you probably don't. And this is my Miffy teddy that I've had, not since a baby, but since like a child, and a knitted Care Bear. We've got, fucking hell, tell me you live with a straight man without telling me you live with a straight man. The Ashes, Sharp, Air Force One. But like, I've got Grease and Hercules and Pocahontas and NSYNC's most requested videos on DVDs and Dreamgirls. That's the queerness balancing out the straightness in that cupboard. And then, yeah, it's just, that's a radiator in a box, wrapping paper. Not much in here, but I do believe this is an original Victorian feature. So this pole, I think, is an original Victorian pole, and the shelves and everything have been here for a long, long time, as you can see. So even though it's an original feature, girlies, doesn't mean we have to keep it, because look at it. It's just not practical. It's just so shallow as well. It really doesn't have much depth to it, so you can't really get that much in it. So I think that's going to go so we can build in a better, deeper cupboard where the hockey bag, this is a hockey bag of kit and sports kit and stuff, can just kind of go and be wheeled in and stand up in there. That would be so handy. So it just doesn't have to sit in the middle of the room. We have got storage under this bed, which has been really handy up until now, but a lot of it is shoes and stuff. Oh my God, please excuse the crap state of this bed. And it's covered in cat hair. It's creased to fuck. It doesn't matter. No one ever sleeps in here. It's literally just on there. But yeah, this bed has been a sort of storage dumping ground for shoes, but we're going to build shoe cupboard and storage into our main bedroom so we don't have to rely on this anymore. So that would be a massive help. So that is where we're at with like the functionality and the planned use for this room. And even though we call it the spare bedroom, which is like what it is now, that's kind of not the plan going forward. This won't be referred to as a spare bedroom, but it's kind of like a multi-use space, a creative space, a cat space, a lounging space, a little relaxing escape from the rest of the house. It doesn't have to have the function of being a bedroom, because who says it has to? Just because it's here doesn't mean I need to put a bed in it. I feel like that's quite a traditional take. And obviously we don't have kids, we don't have dependents who need a bedroom here, so we can kind of do it what we want. That's the beauty of being a dink. A few people have said to me in person, why don't you make it a massive walk-in wardrobe, a dressing room? Most days I wear joggers and stuff like this, stuff that literally doesn't ever get ironed, barely gets hung up, and all my jewelry is just in one box. Like, I don't need a whole room just for clothing, just for getting ready. I'm not a glam girly day in, day out. I go to my day job dressed like a slob, practically in pajamas. So it would feel like a bit of a waste of space in here, when actually most of my life is spent at a computer, editing, posting, managing all my channels and stuff, or doing my day job. I work full time outside of this at the moment, or a lot of my time is spent stroking my cats, kissing them on their little cute noses. So that's all I want in this room, in this life. That's what I want in my life. It's just more cats and more creative shit. So that's what we're trying to do with this room, to make it suited to that dream. Hopefully we'll get there very, very soon. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what I want to do in this room in terms of the decor, what changes we're going to make, and not just with the furniture, but, you know, all round. Now, as this is a Victorian house, I do want to bring a bit of charm back. I want to make it modern and, as I said, feel quite creative and quite like a nice place to be, an exciting place to be. But I don't want to get rid of the charm and the Victorian beauty and architecture of it, which is what they have done in here before me, which is a crying shame. So the two big things for me are, well, actually three. Firstly, taking all this wallpaper off, new ceiling, plastered, etc. And I want to put some coving back up. Now, as you can see, currently, no coving anywhere. It clearly either wasn't in here or they've taken it down since. And now I'm going to put it back up, which I've never done before, so wish me luck. I'm not actually normally a big advocate for coving, like, unless you live in a period home where it suits the style, which obviously in Victorian era, Victorian style properties, it absolutely does. But in my last house, which was like a 1950s ex-council house, we didn't, because it didn't need it. It was much more of a modern space, and coving would have just been extra work for no good reason and probably would have looked really out of place. But in here, I want to get some like ornate, pretty Victorian style coving like we have next door. Let me just quickly show you what we have next door. So it's not like super ornate in here, but it's the original coving. You can probably see that just above the bed. So yeah, going for something similar style. So there's like that symmetry and flow of the details throughout both of the rooms, which would be lovely. Bringing back a bit of that Victorian charm and that goodness back to the house, which has been completely obliterated. And along with the coving, another thing I really want to put back into this room, I say back, I don't know if there was one in here originally, maybe, but I would love to add a ceiling rose to the ceiling where there isn't one at the moment. So I have a new, obviously new ceiling light. We've got to take down this wallpaper, and I predict taking down this wallpaper will take the ceiling with it, so that's going to be fun. But once we have a nice fresh new ceiling, we can pop coving on, and we can pop a ceiling rose on, and that's just going to bring all that charm and that like original detail, beautifulness back to the room, back to the space, and make it feel way more in keeping and fit in with the rest of the house, which has all those little features throughout. We've got a ceiling rose in our office, in our lounge, in our loft room, and we're going to be adding them back into here and our bedroom next door, our master bedroom. So it's all going to look coherent, and it's all going to look in keeping and authentic to the era in which this house was built, which would be lovely rather than like a different kind of 80s. And then in terms of the decor, we're not going to wallpaper again. This wallpaper has scarred me for life, but we're not going to wallpaper again. We're going to paint this, colour drench it, ceiling, skirting, coving, walls in one colour. Don't know what colour yet. I'm looking at those sort of like reds, those rich reds, but this room isn't the lightest room. It looks quite light at the moment because it's middle of the day. We're getting a bit of light through the window, but naturally it doesn't get a lot of light throughout the day because outside is like the side return of the house. So it's kind of like a side alley that gets kind of sheltered throughout the day. So I want a colour in here that feels like, you know, like a big hug, that feels opulent and enriching, but also reflects the light and brings the light in, bounces the light off. So I don't know what that is. Not sure what colour that is yet, or if it exists, but we're going to give it a go. And if you have any suggestions for colours you think would work in here, please let me know. I would love like a mid-red, you know, like terracottas, like Lick Red 03, like those really lovely, sexy reds, but aren't like 90s cheap, tacky, like lipstick red. That's not what we're going for here. We're going for like rich woman in her castle, okay? That's what we're going for. So opulence. I own everything. I would love that colour to like not only drench obviously the walls and all the plaster work, but the cupboard, the door, everything. And actually, let's talk about the door. So the door, this is fun. I think it's going to be fun to unveil. So this side is obviously the original panelling. I'm going to assume this is the original Victorian door, only because we've got very similar ones downstairs that look exactly like this, were caked in just as much disgusting gloss. We had them stripped and they came out beautifully. So I might do the same with this one, see how she comes up. But on that side, so you've got the panelling and you've got this handle, which has obviously been added at a later date. It's so 60s, it hurts. And that's what makes me think this carpet is also 60s. These were probably fitted in the same era, I'm going to guess. But yeah, these sort of like jazzy little pull handles that we've got here and on the cupboard over here are so mid-century, which I would love in another house. Like, I love mid-century style. It's one of my favourite design styles for home decor, but obviously doesn't suit the era of the house. So I have got a few sort of mid-century elements throughout the house, like the sideboard in our bedroom, and our desk downstairs is quite mid-century, and we've got a lot of plywood everywhere. So we do try and mix it in with the Victorian decor and try and make it coherent. But in this room, or in that door in particular, it ain't going to work. And then the other side of the door, it's flat. It's a flat panel, but I can see here it's probably a panel that's been added at a later date. So I reckon we can wrench that off, this thin bit of MDF or whatever's been added, and see if the panels are still underneath it, which I think they will. And the same has happened over here. I don't think we'll be keeping this door, but it might be satisfying just to see what's going on underneath. So the panels inside the door look like this, but then on the outside, it's flat. And you can see here more clearly the join of where the panel's been added to the door, that join there. So I think they've added those again in the mid-century to look a bit more. So I think they've added those panels in the mid-century to look a bit more plain and smart and sleek, in line with that style, that mid-century style. But we're not doing that in here. Okay, Artemis has decided to join us. What do you think of the spare room? Look at her. She's very much looking forward to having a little cat zone over here, I think. My God, it's going to be so cute seeing them like climb a cat tree that's attached to the wall, the ceiling, and see them sleep in little hammocks on the wall. That is all I want for them. That is all I want for you in your life, okay? You're going to get it. She doesn't seem too enthused about that, but hey. So I touched on earlier this wall coming down and this wall coming down. You may be thinking, why on earth have those walls got to come down? They look absolutely fine. Well, I'm here to assure you they are not fine, and I'm going to show you why. So if we walk out of the room into the hallway, now this was sort of touched on as a space during the loft room renovation, but there's still a lot to finish up. So we've got no ceilings in the hallway at the moment. This has been plastered and miscoated, but nothing else. And the stairs themselves are going to be carpeted, so we'll get round to that once all the mess of this renovation is done. I'm not putting on a nice new carpet now, only for it to get ruined. And obviously, all of this that has been covered in gloss, this original Victorian handrail, which is stunning underneath, I'm sure, that all needs to be stripped of gloss, because my God, what was it with like boomers and white gloss? It should be illegal. They should be punished. But that's another job for another day. In terms of geography here, so we've got straight ahead our bathroom. On the left is our loo. Yeah, it looks like a bit of like a den down here. This was our temporary ceiling, which has recently fallen down because there was insulation up there and we had to cover it. So oh my God, the dust. So we covered it with Proplex. But it's not doing its job at the moment, but it won't be long before that's an actual ceiling. But this wall here is the one I was talking about in the spare room where the bed runs along. And yeah, so during the loft renovation, we had to take some of the wall out so our new electrics and our new plumbing could run up there. But this whole wall is like this. So the structure of this wall is just old lard and plaster. And I don't even want to crumble it because it's just so, oh, it's so bad. It's just not in a state that's gonna, that wallpaper's not gonna come off and this wall is not gonna last. So this all needs to come out. at least we won't have to strip the wallpaper. At least we can just rip the wall off, take all the lather and plaster off. So this will be a whole new wall, and it's quite high. So all of it is going to be a whole new wall. So not only have we got to deal with the wall inside, we've got to deal with the wall out here as well. And then the same goes here. So this is a brick wall, but this is all lard and plaster. So we need to take all of this out, and that wall is the same as that wall in there. The wall between the rooms is just, you can't really see it from this side, but I'll show you it from this side. The wall between the bedrooms is just a crumbly mess. It's really bouncy. Let me see if I can show you better. Yeah, it's a really bouncy, crumbly wall. You can't really see the wobbliness in this light, but let me tell you, she is not well. She is not good. So yeah, this is just crumbling, as you can see there. Just, it doesn't take much to damage it, so it has to go. So this whole wall between the two bedrooms, she's going in a skip. So that's going to be fun. So what we'll be left with when we start renovating, which is very soon, is a completely empty join here and this room open to the hallway. So basically upstairs there'll be like no structure apart from like the bare bones of the studs of these rooms, which are like the wooden posts that you see in between two bits of plasterboard in modern times. But back in the day they had this similar kind of structure where you've got your wooden posts, which are called your studs, at every, I don't know, now it's like 40 centimetres, isn't it? I can't remember what the standard was back then. And then you've got these lard strips. Actually, this is an excellent way to illustrate the point, Sharn. So you've got these wooden posts here, which are called your studs. One there, and this is exactly how they structure the wall. So on each side, they have these wooden strips, which they attach with nails. So that's this side, as in the hallway side, and that's the back of the spare room wall. So strips on that side, strips on this side, chasm between the two wooden posts for things to go in, and then they would just smush this style of plaster on top of it, this lime plaster, which is really crumbly, and they put horsehair in it and everything. I don't know if you can see any of the little hairs there, but they put horsehair in it to strengthen it, to make it sort of give it a better tensile strength. So that's the way these walls are structured, which obviously is absolutely fine if they're intact, but they're not, because they've had to come down partly. So we're going to take all of them down. We've learned in this house there's no point in trying to like restore and repair these walls. You're better off just ripping them down, because they're an arseache to repair. And you imagine getting like a crack in that in your wall, and then you try to like shove filler onto this, like it just doesn't work. So hence why smoothly plastered walls, new plastered walls, are so much better. So that's it. That's the spare room plans. Very, very soon, this wall won't exist. That wall won't exist. This room is going to look very, very different. It's going to look like a skip, to be honest. But we'll be well on our way to building a gorgeous new creative space, creative suite, multi-purpose room, cat heaven, working space, whatever you want to call it. I am very, very excited to get started. Please follow me along on here. I'm going to be documenting the whole process from start to finish of both our master bedroom and the spare room makeover. It's going to be a whole mess. It's going to be a ride. It's going to be a journey, but we're going to get through it, and we're going to do it. Hopefully in the next 6 or so months, I should be coming back to you here with a very, very different room behind me. And if you've got any ideas or thoughts or feelings or vibes or colours or inspo, I love to hear from other people. I love to like gather ideas. I'm not the best interior designer. It's not something that comes naturally to me. It's something I'm having to do by force because we're renovating. So if you've got anything and any plans of what you would do this room, please share them with me. And of course, you can find me on Instagram, on TikTok, where I share everything about every renovation I ever do. There's lots more there for you to see. And I really, really hope you enjoy this process. Thanks for watching.